Good evening and welcome to the West Ham Network Extra. Hope everyone is good tonight. Transfer deadline day is upon us. We just had a win last night against Bournemouth. A little bit lucky, I feel. Maybe just a touch lucky at the end. A messy goal, for a messy performance, really, wasn't it? It was. But look, yeah, transfer deadline day ends tomorrow, and we are trying to get some business done. We're trying to move some players on so that we can to bring some more through the door. Players like Aguerd and Danny Ings and Cornet. Zuma looks like he's finally passed the medical, which, absolute miracle that is. And this is what we're looking to. We're trying to move these players on so we can get some players through the door. So Tim's not done yet; he's still got a lot of work to do. But at the moment, trying to get those players through the door. Now it's come out tonight. It looks like Cornet is closing in on a deal to Southampton, which sounds like it's going to be a season-long loan, which means he's off the books. It opens up a space in our squad, so that means that we should be able to get the Carlos Soler deal over the line, and I think that's the deal that we are really. We are really looking to try and get done anyway, the Carlos Soler one. Sorry, just kind of messing around with that. Anyway, yeah, trying to get the Carlos Soler deal done. And then, there could be some other signings depending on who we move on. Aguerd, if Aguerd leaves, that means we could look at some centre backs. So Trevor Chalobah from Chelsea is a player that we have been interested in and has been frozen out at Chelsea, so that is a possibility. We could possibly explore a deal for another striker if we're able to move on Danny Ings, which I feel like it's very unlikely at this point. I'll be very surprised if we can move Danny Ings on. So yeah, I feel like it's going to be a very busy 25 hours because it closes at 11 o'clock tomorrow night and it's nearly 10 o'clock. It's 9:30. So yeah, 25 and a half hours business left to be done, and we've had a really decent window so far. We've brought in a lot of players. Some of them are for the future, some of them still got some questions about them, but some of them have already hit the ground running. Max Kilman, for example, I think he has been absolutely brilliant in the 3 competitive games that we have played. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, someone said in one of the chats I was in the other day that he's a cheat code because I'll tell you what, some of the defensive display that he put in last night I thought was absolutely superb, especially given the fact that he was playing on that left wing, that he was playing that left back after Creswell got injured, which I found surprising actually. I did not I didn't think that Lopetegui would go down that route, deciding to put Wan-Bissaka at left back and putting Sofal back at right back. I thought maybe he would have put Emerson in, but he didn't. He went down that route, and I mean, it worked. We kept another clean sheet. That's 2 clean sheets we've kept in a row now. So I think that's definitely a positive because I can't remember the last time we kept 2 clean sheets in a row. I think we are literally having to go back to last year. I think at the end of last year we got 2 clean sheets in a row. I think that might have been Arsenal. Then was it Brighton to draw 0-0? I can't remember, but yeah, it's definitely been a while since we've kept a couple of clean sheets. So I feel like the business that we've done defensively looks really good. We saw the first, we saw Todibo for the first time yesterday, starting from the back, and I thought he looked very, very comfortable on the ball, very confident. I think he looks okay defensively. Passing was a little bit iffy, but his first start in the Premier League, you've got to give him a little bit of a chance. So yeah, I mean, he could possibly build a solid partnership with Max Kilman. But I mean, Mavropanos has been doing a decent job there so far. I thought he had a brilliant game against Crystal Palace. So there's questions being asked of Lopetegui, by the players that you thought that might have the possibility of moving on, in Mavropanos, that possibly, kind of saying to him that I'm putting in a good performance, and I think that's good because I think it just proves that competition for places really works, really works. So I feel like, yeah, the defensive recruitments that we have brought in have been absolutely brilliant. We move a little bit up into the midfield. We saw Somerville I've got a real chance to see Somerville yesterday, and I thought he was a little bit quiet. He did try a lot, but he couldn't really get hold of the ball. I think he had one decent chance in the first half, which he didn't manage to put away. Maybe should have done a little bit better, but I think in the second half he got more involved when Paquetá came on, and he was getting the ball a lot more, and he did look very lively down that left. But yeah, did struggle to kind of get into the game at first. But I feel like that had a lot to do with the fact that we were passing the ball around a lot, the defence, and then it got to the midfield, and we let that creativity, because we started with Gentle Prowse and Souček. There wasn't a lot of creativity there, which meant the ball wasn't really getting to the wingers in Bowen and Somerville to be able to create more chances for Fuller up top, who, man, that man's got a jump on him. I lost count of how many how many balls he managed to win, because I thought we put in a really he was decent. Didn't get the ball a lot. I think that's the point that I'm trying to get to when it comes to Fuller. So yeah, we should be seeing a little bit more business, and I think yesterday highlighted that we do need another creative midfielder, especially when you're looking at Souček and James Ward-Prowse. And now I did a video the other day talking about Souček, and I feel like he adds some things to the West Ham side in goals, but does he add anything else really? And I think that kind of was highlighted yesterday. I didn't really see him doing a huge amount, and I do not understand why he's got 90 minutes again. Why is he getting 90 minutes? I mean, we just seem to persist keeping him in that side. I mean, obviously someone sees something in him, obviously, but I don't know. I don't know. Managers see too. But I mean, yeah, Timus. Do I think Souček's a start? Personally, no. I don't feel that he should start personally. I think Souček could be an absolutely brilliant impact sub. I think he'll do a really good job as an impact sub. Coming on in the last 30, 20 minutes of the game to be a real menace to our defence. Winning balls because he's really good in the air, and just being a general goal threat, because we know he's got this real knack of getting into the right position at the right time. Unfortunately, that's about it. He has stuff defensively, but in the middle of the park, that's where it worries me. So no, personally, I don't believe that that we should be starting Thomas Souček, but I still think he has a lot to offer West Ham United. I really do. So we say that Tim isn't done yet. And so what do we mean? Sorry about that. What other business can we expect? Well, we've talked about Carlos Soler. He is a player that we are really interested in trying to bring in. I think we've got a deal pretty much set up for him. Looks like it's going to be a season on loan with an obligation to buy. So yeah, that's definitely an option. Other players though will heavily depend on, as I mentioned at the beginning, players that leave. Are we going to see any others leave? Well, we've mentioned Maxwell Cornet. He looks like he could be moving on to Southampton, which I think will then free up the space for Carlos Soler to come in. Zuma was going, and I don't think... I feel like we've already kind of spent that money already, bringing in Todibo and Aaron Wan-Bissaka, so moving Zuma on alone was never going to be enough for us to be able to bring in more players. But, yeah, I think it's likely that Aguerd could go, because it looks like he's been frozen out of the squad, which means that if he does go, then we may look to bring in another central defender, and it probably would be one for the Premier League. And as I say, Chalobah sounds like a really good shout, but there could be some other players out there as well. And West Ham have also been talking about maybe a surprise deal coming over the line if certain dominoes fall. And I think that's what ex-West Ham employee said. Certain dominoes fall, then we could see a surprise signing. But I feel like maybe a little bit unlikely at this point. So yeah, I mean, feel free to ask any questions. This is a bit of an interactive show, so if you're watching live, you've got any questions, don't be afraid to ask, and I will answer them if I can. But obviously, we've got Man City this weekend, and never usually ends well for us, Man City. But I think what's going to be interesting about this game, is how we are going to set up, how we're going to play, because we always knew how we would typically play in these kind of games with David Moyes. We would be sitting up to sit behind the ball, soak up the pressure, invite the opposition on, and try and catch them on the counter. Now, I actually wouldn't be surprised if we see something similar to that from Lopetegui on Saturday, because I think he's a manager that is going to change up the system depending on our opposition, and given that he knows what these players are good at, we may do something like that, but it may not be so defensive. I get a little bit concerned playing the kind of high line that we have been playing so far against a team like Man City. Obviously, we do have a lot of pace now in our defence. With Kilman, he's got a lot of pace. Wan-Bissaka, a lot of pace. I mean, some of those recovery tackles he made yesterday were absolutely brilliant. I can see him definitely doing that again against Manchester City on Saturday. And we know Tabido has got a lot of pace. Whether or not he will start, I'm not sure. I do believe that Mavropanos probably will get the shout again on Saturday. But given the performances that he's been putting in, I don't think many people could really argue that. But we do know that we do know that Mavropanos is prone to a mistake. But it's good to see that Alvarez got some minutes under his belt, and I thought when Rodriguez came on yesterday, he looked really good. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's the midfield we go with Rodriguez and Alvarez to help protect that defence. And it probably will be Pakisar just in front, with Kudus on the left, Bowen on the right, and then probably, I would imagine, Fuller up top. Although we did see Lopetegui use Bowen as a striker yesterday as well. So I mean, that is an option that we may go with as well. Offers us a little bit more pace, especially on the counter. So we could see something like that. We could see Lopetegui go with Bowen up top, with Kudus on the right, and then maybe Somerville on the left. I mean, that is also a possibility. Or he may put Paquetá on the left just to try and fit Soucek in there somewhere. I really wouldn't be surprised if he still starts Soucek. I really wouldn't. I hope he doesn't, but yeah, it really wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. How we doing, Mickey? Do we think we'll bring in a striker before deadline? If we sell Ings, or if we get Ings off the books for a season, if we loan him out or if we sell him, I think there is a small possibility we bring another striker in. But if we don't, no. So I would be very surprised if we move Ings on. So I would be very, very surprised if we do bring in another striker. That would really surprise me if we actually go and do that. So yeah, I wouldn't get your hopes up on a striker at this point, but it is definitely a possibility. But I feel like only if Ings kind of moves on. Anyway. So I really itchy nose for some reason. I don't know why. What do we get? Yeah, Carabao Cup. So we got through, which is amazing. And then, of course, we get the inevitable. We get a big six side in the next round. We can't avoid them, can we? We had Liverpool last year. We had Arsenal last year. We've had Man City, Man United, Arsenal, Tottenham. They've all popped up over the last 5 or 6 years, haven't they? And yet again, we get another big six side and away from home at Anfield. And I predicted we would win the Carabao Cup this year. I really did. Why is my God now? I was so goddamn itchy. if you just give me a second, guys, I'm just going to go and be right back. Oh, man. Sorry about that. I don't know why, but I'm really itchy nose. I've had hay fever all day, so I was probably playing towards that a little bit. Anyway, we shall move on now. Where were we? Yes, Liverpool. Do we actually think we're going to get a result against Liverpool? God knows. God knows. It's a really difficult place to go, Anfield. I think all we can really hope for against Liverpool this year is that we actually put out a team that goes for it, because Moyes didn't do that. Moyes last season looked at a Liverpool game and thought, we've got no chance of winning this game, so I'm not even going to bother trying and just going to put out a load of fringe players, and it backfired massively. We got destroyed. I don't think that will happen this season. I don't think Lopetegui will do that. And also, the squad that we've got as a whole is a lot stronger than the squad we had last season. So even if we do play a slightly weakened side, it will be a better side than the one we were able to put out against Liverpool last season. So I feel like we will go for it, but we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, Liverpool got Champions League as well to worry about. They've had the draw today. They've got some really difficult games, so that may play in our favour where they feel like they need to rest some players. And considering the fact that they haven't made a huge amount of signings this summer, could indicate that they may want to rest some players. They may want to rest some players. We'll go to a question, Gaz. I don't think Souček getting 90 minutes ruled him out of the City game. No, I don't think Souček getting 90 minutes. Look, Souček, one thing you can't deny about Souček, he's a bloody hard worker and he's got stamina beyond belief. So he will just run. And that guy is extremely fit. So yeah, he could play 90 minutes on Sunday, then 90 minutes on Wednesday, and then 90 minutes again on Saturday without any issues. I really do believe that about Souček. You can't. I've got a lot of criticisms when it comes to Souček, but I don't when it comes to his fitness levels. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Liverpool have a Champions League game 16th, 19th, and they feel the weaker side for sure. Yeah, but you have to remember, their weaker side pretty much won the competition last year in the final against Chelsea. Because I remember that, and they put so many kids out. So many kids ended that game, but they still managed to get the win. And I thought that was very impressive. They've got a really good youth system there, and they've got a lot of young, really exciting players. So even if they do put out a weakened side, they'll still have the big guns on the bench. Like they'd still have the Salahs on the bench, and the Diaz's and the Nunez's, even if they don't start them. So yeah, it's a difficult game, but I still do believe that we can go there, give them a good game, and possibly get the win. Possibly we can. We would just have to kind of wait and have to wait and see really. So yeah. Liverpool away. Do you know what though? I actually reckon we'll get the win, and knowing our luck, we will then get Man City away. So yeah, that is a possibility. Anyway, transfer deadline day. That's where we were, weren't we? So I feel if I was looking at the squad at the moment and looking at the positions that I feel like we could do with strengthening, I probably would only really say the midfield. Another, an attacking mind or a box-to-box midfielder. That's the one position I felt like we did need that we hadn't filled yet, and that's I think where Carlos Soler will come in if we manage to bring him in, which I really hope that we do. But apart from that, I wouldn't be overly fussed if we didn't bring anyone else in, because I feel like we have already had an absolutely excellent transfer window with some of the signings that we've brought in, and Tim has done an incredible job. He's managed to get some really good signings over the line. You know, Todibo is definitely one of them for sure, and I do feel like Fuller is a really good signing. I feel like he is gonna come good, and he will become a fan favourite. I do believe that. We've already mentioned Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Kilman, both very good signings. Haven't really seen much of Guilherme yet, but I think he is definitely one for the future. And yeah, Somerville did all right yesterday. But one that I feel like went under the radar a little bit and is quite a shrewd signing is Gudio Rodriguez. In that first game against Villa, he did look decent. He looked okay, not brilliant, but decent. I feel like he definitely improved against Aston a bit against Crystal Palace, put in a much more competent performance. And when he came on yesterday, I thought he really helped improve that midfield alongside Paquetá. Those two substitutions came on and completely transformed us as a team. We started to have the ball. We started to look more dangerous with the ball because we had the ball quite a lot in that first half yesterday, but we weren't really doing a huge amount with it. But when Paquetá and Rodriguez came on, they controlled that midfield a lot more. He played Rodriguez especially played some really decent diagonal balls over as well, and yeah, I feel like he did a decent job, and yeah, so I feel like that is going to be a solid sign, and that's one of the reasons that I do believe that Rodriguez and Alvarez will start against Man City on Saturday. Add a little bit more defensive muscle in that midfield, but also they both have passing ability. They both have the ability to bring the ball out and to turn the defense into attack a little bit more. So that's going to be a really interesting partnership going forward because they did used to play alongside each other, Club America in Mexico. And apparently they're really, really good friends. So yeah, I'm going to be really interested to see how they do alongside each other. You agree? Woody looked very good. His passing and distribution was excellent. Yeah, no, totally agree, Gaz. Totally agree. It was I thought it was very competent indeed. Very, very good on the ball. You just got. Sorry, 2 seconds. Sorry. Where's it gone? There it is. There it is. Sorry, guys, just get this one out. Sorry, just had to reply to someone there. Anyway, so yeah, I think the next 24 hours should be fairly decent. Hopefully, we do get a little bit of business done. Hopefully, we do move on the players that we need to move on, and hopefully, we can bring in some more as well. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see, if we can get any more business done. Obviously, we got the international break after the Manchester City game, which is really frustrating. And it's great to see that Bowen has yet again got a call up, even though I'm not particularly keen on him going. I don't think I don't think he's been at his sharpest, and he probably could have done with a little bit of break, break. Honestly, that would have been good. But no, he's going to go and play a couple of pointless Nation League games probably. Even though I'm not sure if he'll get a huge amount of game time, but if he doesn't, it'll be a good experience for him, I guess. And yeah, there's a couple of England games. I'm not even sure who we're playing, to be honest with you. I absolutely love these international tournaments. I really do. I absolutely love them. I think they're fantastic. You know, the Euros and the World Cup. But then outside of that, the international breaks just are a pure inconvenience for me. Just the way I look at them, they just seem absolutely pointless. And it just takes us away from the Premier League football. And the fact that we've got three of them before Christmas, oh man, it drives me mad. But we've got to live with it, haven't we? It takes us away from the Premier League football. But hey, Man City on Saturday, then the international break. And then it is Fulham. And then I think it's going to be the Liverpool game. I believe. It might not be. If Aguerd stays, do you think we'll freeze him out? I think at the moment he's already been frozen out, Aguerd at the moment, because he wasn't in the... he hasn't been in the squad for any of the games so far, not the competitive games that we've played. I did wonder if he would be around for yesterday's game, but yet again he wasn't. So I think we are trying to move him on, and we're trying to convince him to take a deal, because I think that he's had a few deals on the table, but he's not been happy with any of them. He doesn't want to take any of them, and I think it's kind of annoying West Ham United that we're having talks with many clubs, but Aguerd's not particularly keen on his moves, which is, it's all fair dues to him. If he doesn't want to go somewhere, you can't force him to go anywhere. You definitely can't. But at the same time, I can see the frustration from West Ham's point of view, that we see him as surplus for requirements, and we want to move him on, and maybe Lopetegui just isn't keen on him, which I am a little bit surprised, because he's always struck me as a player that Lopetegui probably would like, because he is more of a ball playing defender compared to the other defenders that we had. But we know that Aguerd wasn't particularly happy, under David Moyes. Now, that was another thing that I wondered. Under Lopetegui, would he feel differently? Would he be happier to play under Lopetegui? But it seems that relationship between West Ham and Aguerd has just kind of fallen apart a little bit. Mark, apparently an offer from Al Ittihad for Aguerd for €5 million loan with €20 million obligation to buy just now. Just now? Has that come in? I haven't seen that. But if that has, absolutely brilliant if that's just come in. I don't know if he's going to go. Would he go there, though? Would he go off to... would he go off? I'm just having a look now. And yes, they will pay 5... Yeah, sorry, I get updates as it's covered on as well. There's a £30 million there, yeah, 25 million. I feel like that would be a fairly decent deal if that happens. It's not ideal for us, because I think we would prefer the money, but I think the main problem we've got at the moment is the wage bill rather than the transfer fees that we've been paying. We need to bring the wage bill down, which is why we were really desperate to move Zuma on. Why we're really desperate to try and move Ings on as well, because he's on a lot of money. So it looks like it is going to be very, very busy over the next 24 hours. I think Andy's going live tomorrow night on the main West Ham network, which I will appear on as well. I will probably come on and say hello over there at some point for transfer deadline day, and may have a few things to talk about then. Zuma got a new home. Ings, Cornet have interest, we'll say. Yeah, now we'll have to wait and see. I think I was surprised that Zuma passed his medical. Someone's paid something now. Someone's paid something to get that medical over the line, but it has, which is good for Zuma. I feel like Zuma has been a really good player for us over the years. It's just last season his knees were just very clearly going, but before that, I feel like we did get a couple of good years out of him, and it's just a shame because he is a really really good defender, and he used to be a more ball playing defender. He used to be a defender that would really suit Lopetegui's system, but as his knees kind of started to fail him, he started to be a player that didn't want to take so many risks, and I think we saw that a lot last season. That when we went ahead, it was Zuma himself who was dropping back, so we were playing. So we were playing very deep defensively, and that was because he didn't have confidence in himself that he had the pace to be able to catch any players who were going to run behind. So it became quite evident that he definitely had to move on, and it was because of his knees. And yeah, I wish him luck, of course, in the future. And I hope he does okay over there. But yeah, it was definitely time for him to move on, and we saved a little bit of money. And maybe now we can possibly bring in some more players if we can get some others off there as well. Actually, if he's fit and free of injuries, I think Tammy Abraham on loan will be an option. Great pace power. He's going AC Milan. Abraham's going AC Milan. I'll be very surprised if that happens. But is that first bit there fit and free of injuries? The Premier League injuries were terrible last season. There's been a few players that have been signed into the Premier League this year. Who's it? Chiesa, whatever his name is, going to Liverpool. Very, very injury prone. And he's coming into the Premier League, where the Premier League had so many injuries last season. It's a bit of a worry. And I don't think West Ham are overly interested in because of his previous injury issues. So yeah, it doesn't look like he's going AC Milan. So I'll be massively surprised if Tammy Abraham signs for us. I really would. But he is a good player and a good finisher. Does have injury concerns though. Bonjour for a very hot Peruga. 24 degrees at 11 p.m. That does sound really toasty, that. Really toasty. It's cooled down a little bit here in the UK. A little bit. Still, that's warm. That's warm. Go away. Oh, there you go. Pre-season in Florida, his legs look bad, but loyal servant to the club. Zuma, yeah. It was after the Dagenham and Redbridge game, wasn't it? He played 45 minutes, and he had both his knees properly wrapped after 45 minutes of football. And I think it was right at that point where Lopetegui's just gone, no, this is not going to work this season. And I think that was pretty clear to a lot of West Ham fans that was never going to work. But yeah, he's but he was a great servant to the club. He was, and even though he did have his controversies, and he did produce quite a fun chant as well, didn't he? That went very well with our European journey, and may have to find a new kind of twist to that one in the future, maybe. But yeah, so. Is there any other players likely to go? I'll say Aguerd kind of looks likely. So I've got the chat up here as we speak. So any kind of updates kind of popping into there, and I need to get the Twitter up as well. But I haven't seen the Twitter. Anything on the Twitter at the moment, which I will fix for tomorrow night. I mean, there was talk that we may listen to offers for James Ward-Prowse, because I think he was being linked to a return to Southampton, and I wasn't overly keen on that. James Ward-Prowse. I know that he hasn't been superb for West Ham, but I think if you compare him to Soucek, I think he's a better option. Personally. I personally feel he's a better option. Shows the same kind of energy, right? Same fitness levels, adds goals, same as Souček, can pass better than Souček, passes more than Souček, touches the ball more than Souček, has set pieces. I just don't understand. I just don't understand why Souček is getting a start over James Ward-Prowse at the moment. I mean, ideally we get someone else in who can play in that role altogether, but that one was, it's a strange one. James Ward-Prowse being left out over Souček. Shearer was at the airport. Oh, Shearer. Alan Shearer. Dog got a pic of him. That's cool. Hope you're enjoying it out there, Fish. Rumours of Gued may be off. That would leave 3 centre defenders. We would definitely need to replace him with a day to go. I don't think we would be pushing to move a Gued out if we didn't have someone lined up to replace him. I would be very surprised if we did not have someone lined up to replace a Gued. And that's why I feel like someone like Trevor Chalobah, who is out of favour at Chelsea, quite clearly, is a possibility. I can definitely see him moving on. And I think there's going to be a lot of movement tomorrow. I think we are going to see a very, very, very busy transfer deadline day throughout the whole of the Premier League and, the other leagues as well. So I feel there's definitely going to be a lot of business. And you'll see a lot of players going on loan, moving for lesser fees than you thought they would, because these deals tend to get pushed through because people will then start to be desperate to move these players on. So, I think there's going to be a lot of deals to be had tomorrow. It definitely is. But I feel like we do have another centre-back lined up if Aguero does move on. If we somehow get rid of Ings and Ward-Prowse while getting Salah and a striker plus a left-back, it would be a perfect window, but still would be the perfect window. But it wouldn't be a perfect window, but still a solid window. Is that what you mean, Mark? I still feel like we've had an incredible window. I genuinely do. I mean, I do still have some concerns from the beginning of the season. Like, the midfield is definitely one, which is why I'm really keen to try and get Carlos Soler over the line if we can, because I feel like that was a position that we really needed to fill. Right back does concern me a little bit if Aaron Wan-Bissaka gets injured, which he does have a tendency to do, because what I've seen from Sofal so far this season has concerned me. Now, Mavropanos can play right back, but I doubt that is an option we would go with. But I feel like Sofal is still a decent defender. I just feel like he's past his best. But maybe we'll have to see. Received your third top away with Wan-Bissaka earlier. Tim's Gem chuffed. Tim's Gem. What do you think of that? Is that the away top or the third top? Your new third top away with Wan-Bissaka. I'm not sure if you're talking about the third shirt or the away shirt. I'm not sure. I think our transfer business is done. Players don't want to go because of the money they're earning. I don't think it's done yet. I think there's at least one more signing to come in. At least one. Possibly 2. Any more than that, I'll be very surprised. I wouldn't be surprised with 2 signings. I'll be surprised if we don't make 1. I wouldn't be surprised if we make 2. I'll be surprised if we make any more than 2, basically. But I do think I do think there is still some business done. Carlos Soler. We've been working on that deal for weeks. We just needed to move some players out. It was rumoured earlier, I think Fabrizio actually posted up earlier that Cornet is closing on a season-long loan to Southampton, which would free up the space. I don't know if that'll free up the wages. I'm not sure. But it would free up a space. And if Southampton are able to pay his wages, then that may free up what we need to free up to bring in Carlos Soler. And then if we move Aguerd, there could be a centre back. And if by some miracle we move Ings, then there is a small chance, a small, tiny, minute chance that we may try and get a striker over the line. But I wouldn't get your hopes up on that one. But Salah as a centre midfielder, another centre back, yes. Maybe another striker. We don't need any more wingers, that's for sure. So it's possible. Problem is that target man type striker, had a Scamacca, etc. has never worked out. Fullkrug is the one type of striker. We need a pacey, powerful striker who can run the channels. Fullkrug is nothing like Hadder or Scamacca. They are very, very different kind of strikers. I always looked, whenever I was watching Hadder or Scamacca, I mean, Scamacca for me was just very lazy and didn't have very good. He had okay positioning. Hadder was good positioning, good finisher. I would probably liken Fuller more to Hadder than Scamacca, but I would also say that Fuller can get himself about. The problem was in yesterday's game, he wasn't getting any service, and we weren't getting up the field quick enough. Mainly because we couldn't seem to get out of the midfield. You know, we just couldn't seem to. But in the second half, and it was a bit more, we saw us have a lot more going forward. When kind of, and Bowen moved into the middle. But I feel like when you've got the players like Paquetá, maybe someone like Soto in the middle, who is going to be able to create some space to allow the wingers to be able to properly shoot down those wings and put crosses into the box, that's when you'll see a lot from Fuller as well. And I don't think Fuller is afraid to run the channels either. He's just kind of got to get into the game. But he likes to make a menace of himself. So I wouldn't say that he's a target man. He's very good in the air. But we're not playing target football. I saw someone yesterday say that we were just playing long balls a lot. We weren't. Like Fabianski was playing a lot of long balls, but West Ham had passing, not so much. I don't think. I think we were trying to pass it out of the defence, and we looked really good passing it at times, especially amongst the defence. I think Kilman and Todibo look really comfortable on the ball. Wan-Bissaka looks really decent on the ball as well, and that's what I really like. I have confidence when we're playing it out from the back. I had confidence when we were doing that yesterday. I used to cringe last season every single time I saw the keeper pass it to like Zuma on the edge of the box. I always got concerned, and I was like, "Oh, what are we doing? Why are we doing that? Why are we trying to play it out with the defenders we got?" But in the games I've seen so far, when we're doing that, I don't feel that same fear. We just look so much more comfortable on the ball defensively, and overall look so much stronger defensively as well. I'm not so concerned that we're going to see one of the players make a gaping mistake every single time they get the ball. They will make mistakes, don't get me wrong. There will be mistakes that happen, but I don't have that fear as much as I did last season, and that's a positive. What do you think about the rumour going after Jimmy Lo Celso? I didn't see that rumour, but I feel that's highly unlikely. Highly unlikely. Time will tell with Fullkrug. It will tell. We'll have to wait and see. Did everyone feel disappointed that we did not try Paquetá deeper next to Alvin as we could as in the 10 yesterday? Felt like it was a missed opportunity against Bournemouth yesterday. I totally agree with that, Mark. I totally agree with that. Paquetá has been playing in that deeper role. When I was at Sellers Park on Saturday, so the amount of defensive work that Paquetá does is so underrated. He works his arse off. He gets back. He can break up that play. He wins the ball back. He breaks up possession. And then when he gets the ball, it's so difficult to get off it. And he has been playing in that position. And if you go and have a look at the heat maps, for Thomas Souček and Lucas Paquetá, you'll see that Paquetá has been spending the majority of his time in the centre of midfield and in our own half, while Souček, very little time in our own half and more out top. It's like Souček is playing in the 10 and Paquetá is playing in the 8. And I don't have a problem with Paquetá playing in the 8, but I have a problem with Souček playing in the 10. And yeah, I want to see Kudus in the 10. I want to see him in the 10. And I thought that would have been a perfect opportunity yesterday to try that out. To have Alvarez alongside Paquetá, with Kudus in the 10, Summerfield on the left, Bowen on the right, Fullkrug up top. So it will come. It will come and it will happen. I have faith that it will happen eventually, but we'll have to see. Don't believe Giovanna he wants to get specific. Yeah, I never believe that anyway. Oh, GP, good evening. Good evening to you too. How are you doing? Against Bournemouth, Fullkrug showed lack of pace. He needs wingers to supply him. We don't play with wingers. Bowen and Kudus are more inside forwards than in and out wingers. You do make a point there. But Fuller likes to be a little bit more involved in the play as well. He likes to try and come and receive the ball. But the problem was yesterday that we weren't able to get out of the midfield. And so it was kind of resulted to playing that kind of lone striker role a little bit more, which it definitely didn't suit him, but he was winning a lot. One of the things that I noticed, there was a couple of times where he went up to win headers and he actually won the headers. And I remember turning around to my mate who was sitting next to me and I said, if that was Antonio, he would have missed the header and be laying on the floor complaining that he'd been fouled. Because how many times do you used to see that? Like the ball go forward, Antonio jump up to the ball, defender will get there first, knock Antonio on his arse, and then he'd be laying there saying, why don't I get a foul, ref? You didn't see that with Fuller. Like he won the ball a lot more. And I think the idea, and this is where having a pacey 10, I feel like comes into it a little bit. Because if you had someone like Kudus in that 10 who's running through that middle when the ball is played to Fuller, he knocks it down to Kudus and then he takes advantage of that. And that's where you'll see the best of Fuller. But because we were playing with Prowsey and Souček, neither of those were really doing it or had that ability to do it. So I don't think we're playing to Fuller's strengths. We didn't play to Fuller's strengths yesterday. We didn't. But when he came on against Palace, he looked really quick, good on the turn, and he got himself into some decent positions. Tammy Abraham was all over Sky Italy tonight. He's going AC Milan. Unfortunately. I feel like Fuller plays a lot like Antonio, like when he went for headers, back in defender like Antonio. Yeah, the way that I described Fuller when he first came to West Ham was I think he's a mixture of Antonio and kind of like Harry Kane. He's got the football brain of Harry Kane and probably the finishing of Harry Kane, but he's got the muscle and the presence of Antonio, and that could be a good mixture. But I think we just have to remember that we still haven't played that 11 that I think we're going to eventually settle on yet. He's still kind of experimenting. He's still introducing some players, and once we do find that 11 that just works and plays the way that he wants to play, I think it's all going to start looking a little bit smoother, a little bit more confident, and the football itself will generally improve. We're 3 games in. There's a lot of signings that are coming in, playing alongside each other for the first time. We've got a lot of players that were playing last season in a certain system that was just all, Moyes system. So they've got that in their brains as well. So you kind of got that be in their muscle memory. So you kind of got to work that out of them as well. So yeah, there's still a long way to go. As I say, I think it'd be really interesting to see how we line up or how we go against Man City. how we play. Are we going to just sit back and soak up the pressure like Moyes would have done, or are we going to try and take the game to City a little bit, which could be dangerous? But we never had a result against City anyway, so I feel like what's the worst going to happen? Can't be any worse than losing, can it really? You lose heavily. But we got the defenders who can defend a little bit more. Players like Wan-Bissaka who can keep up with the Fodens and the Haalands and Kilman who can do the job there as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how we do. That's why Pac-Man was sort of 4-3-3 with Pac-Man, Alvarez and Guido. Yeah, and I think that's probably what we're going to go with against Man City. I think it'll be Rodriguez, Alvarez and Paquetá with Kudus on the left, Bowen on the right, Fuller in the middle. And then Kudus will be playing as a winger because left to try and get the ball into the box. So you might see a little bit more. Guys, I'm a bit worried that Chris is our only backup for Everton. I wouldn't be keen on Sofel coming in and everything going on the left, such as a liability, maybe left back on Jan window. Possibly. Yet again, it will probably depend on departures, which is another reason I was kind of surprised we wanted to push Agued out because he can play left back. He can. Now, Chris picks up an injury. That's why he didn't start yesterday. So I don't know how bad that injury is or how long he may be out. So that could be a possibility. We could see ourselves maybe going into the market for a left back tomorrow if there's one available. Possibly. Very possibly. I'll be very surprised, but you never know. Or maybe we'll look to bring Oliver Scholes, up from the development squad to be a little bit of a backup for Emerson as well. But it's good to see that a player like Aaron Wan-Bissaka can play on that left-hand side if needs be and still do a really, really good job there. Even though I totally agree that I don't really want to see Sofel on that right too much. Wouldn't mind the transfers and wouldn't mind if we don't buy anyone else as long as we don't. You don't want Abraham. We're not going to sign Abraham, so I don't think you need to worry about that. Fullkrug looks like he just needs a first goal. Yeah, I think that's the most important thing for a new striker, just getting that first goal. And once they get that first goal, things start to fall in place. So yeah, it's very important. You never know, you might get it against City at the weekend. Fuller is nothing like Antonio. He has a total lack of pace. A couple of times against Bournemouth, he was outpaced easily. We need a younger version of Antonio to be like face through the centre. I didn't say he had the pace of Antonio. I said he had the presence and the menace of Antonio and the muscle, but has the football brain of Harry Kane. No, he doesn't have pace, but you don't need a hugely pacey striker to always run through the middle. That's nice, don't get me wrong, but if you've got a striker that can think on his feet and position himself right, then they could be a real asset. And he's really got away from his defenders a couple of times against Palace, and he had a couple of decent chances. So I still think he's got a little bit of pace. Yeah, he doesn't have the same pace as Antonio, but he can win the ball in the air and he's got a better first touch. I think he's got a better football brain. Give him a chance. Why is Loppy not entertaining Kudus as number 10? He's not even been tried that. I don't know. You're going to have to ask Loppy that. I don't know. When we play City, I don't mind if we play Guido and Alvarez together against them, but when we play Fulham after the national break, we say Paquetá deeper and Kudus in the 10 for that game. Yeah, I think I would like to think that, yeah, that's pretty much what we'll do. When we need to defend a little bit more, when we play a team that, like Man City, who's very dangerous on the attack, we will go a little bit more defensive and play Rodriguez and Alvarez alongside each other with someone else in the 10, like Paquetá. But when we are going to be playing a side that we feel like we can take the game to, we will take that initiative and move Paquetá back into the 8 alongside either Rodriguez or Alvarez, and then have hopefully a player like Kudus going through the middle. I just so wasted on the left, in my opinion. So wasted. Did you like the duo of Kilman and Toledo for the time they played together? I thought it looked decent. I think they're both really good on the ball. I was a little bit let down by a couple of Todibo's passes, but I don't think he did anything terribly wrong. He got booked in the first half, and I think Anne said that was probably the reason he came off. So, and maybe the reason he came off at half time. But I was pleased by what I saw from Toledo all round. I thought he looked really competent. Really competent. I hope James is not. Do I expect Will Press to lead the season? No. No. I do not expect him to leave, but that doesn't mean that he won't. So that doesn't mean that he won't. But no, I don't expect James Ward-Prowse to leave. But you never know what happens. Sadly, Southwell hinders Bowen. Yes, I do agree with that. He does hinder Bowen. Bowen looks so. He looks so much more confident when he had Aaron Wan-Bissaka behind him against Palace. Looks so much more confident. He looks a little bit nervous with Southwell behind him, like he's got half a mind on the fact that if he loses it, he's kind of got to do the chasing back to help out Southwell. It's like Russ having a hot tub and only inviting Alex and Anton to use it and leave you as good as set attack. You and I've come up with some strange ones, GP, but I love them. I love them. Wan-Bissaka is our new Revel Morrison. No. 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 No, I don't see that one personally. I'm sure he played more centre left. He did play more centre left at Ajax, and he plays there for Ghana as well. He plays through the centre for Ghana. Yeah, for Ajax, he played mostly in the centre and off the right. Very rarely played off the left, and we didn't play him off the left when we played him for the majority of last season. It was only after all the injuries. And then we had everyone back in the second half of the season that he started to play on the left. And I think it was more of a necessity at the moment, just at the time, to try and get everyone into the side, because we started to look a little bit better near the end of the season. But yeah, I don't get why we. I think I do get why we're putting him on the left at the moment, and I do think it's because Somerville is not quite ready yet, but I think once he gets into it, and it was good that he got a lot of minutes, then I do believe it. I do believe that Kudus will end up in that 10 role. I really do believe he will. Not saying every game against teams we can take it to and be reserved against the better sides and he'll be satisfied. Yeah. Changing it up based on who we're playing. I think that's what we've all wanted to see, really, isn't it? Because under Moyes, we just always played the same way, didn't we? We always did the same things, and it was very frustrating to watch. So, yeah, if we can change it up depending on who we're playing against, that will be a positive. Rumours tonight of JWP talking to Forest. Yeah, no, I've just seen that. I've seen that, but yeah, again, it's rumours. It's rumours, isn't it? Let's see. I've just got to move something around. Let's just move this around. Right, there we go. Right. Sorry, I've got my Twitter feed here, and I've got my WhatsApp here, and I keep on switching behind them all, so I've just kind of moved them all around so I can see everything. Problem is the Premier League is so much faster than other leagues. Strikers come to the Premier League are used to much slower defenders. I think it will take Forward some time to get adapt. Yeah, it will take him time to adapt. And I mean, that is one of the issues with his age, that he's so used to playing in other leagues. But I do believe he will adapt, and I think he'll be all right. What was that? What was that? Latest news from Man City is both Rodley and Foden will start on Saturday. Oh, this is wonderful news. That's exactly what we wanted to hear. Thank you for bringing that great news to us, Peter. I appreciate it. Look, I kind of expected that we were going to see the best Man City side. So it is what it is. We can only deal with the cards that we are dealt on the day, can't we? Do you think Loppy will start Somerville most of the season? They'll use him as a super sub player. I think at the beginning, I think probably up to the second international break, we will see him used more of a sub. But I feel like as the season goes on, we will see him used a little bit more, and we'll see him starting games. The more confident he gets, and then hopefully we will start to see a team starting for us that we kind of envisage in our minds a little bit, because I think we all envisage a certain team. I know I do. All right, the ideal team for me in the majority of games, and I think we've mentioned it in these comments a lot. I think there's two different teams that we start with. The defence stays pretty much the same, right? You got Aviano in goal, you got Emerson, you got Kilman, Todibo, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Then one of them is Alvarez, Paquetá, Kudus, Somerville, Bowen, Fullkrug. And then the other one for me would actually be Rodriguez, Alvarez, Paquetá in the 10, Somerville on the left, Kudus on the right, Bowen up top. Antonio, purely used as an impact sub. Souček, purely used as an impact sub. Simple as that. James Ward-Prowse can still add something from the bench as well. They will be like the two ideal go-to scenarios, the go-to starting lineups. Even though you have to take into consideration that we could be bringing in Carlos Soler as well, and then where does he fit in? I do wonder if he is being eyed to be the replacement for Paquetá eventually, whether he ends up being sold or he ends up getting banned. I'll be very surprised if they both stay. We know the weaknesses with Sopat, JWP and Souček are in a rut if they play, because I believe that's holding at least 3 players. That's 60 functioning players on the pitch. It's madness. Yeah, I get what you mean. That's what it felt like yesterday, that we felt so utterly toothless in midfield and attack, because it would get to Alvarez and then it just kind of, nothing happened, because we just had no creativity there whatsoever. And I think you saw a massive difference when Paquetá came on. There was a lot more creativity there. And Rodriguez as well. I feel like he did as well. I don't know why Lopetegui seems reluctant to try Paquetá deeper because of the 10 when we're not facing Man City every week. He needs to try it. Moyes refused to try it. Moyes didn't actually refuse to play Paquetá in an 8. He did. Just he was playing alongside Declan Rice in the first season that Paquetá was there. So I don't know. Maybe he has to have confidence in him. I don't know. I think we've said this before. I mean, I said this after game week 1 that I thought people were jumping on Lopetegui's back a little bit too soon, because you've got to give him a little bit more time. And since then, we've won 2 games. We've got to give him a little bit more time to imprint and perfect what he wants to do. But so far, I don't think any of us can have a huge amount of complaints. I thought it was a decent result against Crystal Palace. Wasn't the best performance in the world, especially in the first half. Second half performance, I thought, was much better. But we got the win and we kept a clean sheet. And we got the win against Bournemouth yesterday as well. Now, I think if we can go into the game against Man City and, I don't know, maybe we don't lose heavily. I think we lost 3-1 in both games last season. So if we don't lose 2-1, is that an improvement? I mean, I think with the Man City game, you can't really judge it on the performance. I think you just kind of got to judge Lopetegui on the way he sets up for the game. Because as I say, we know how Moyes would have set up. So I'm just going to be interested to see how Lopetegui sets up. But even if we lose that game, you can't really judge him on that. And you've got to give him 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games or so just to kind of see how he does. But hey, we're doing okay at the moment. So if you could sign realistic targets, anybody tomorrow, irrespective of position, who would you want? Realistic targets. I mean, I wouldn't be against Duran. I wouldn't be against it. Still not convinced by him, but I wouldn't be against it. Tony, nah. He doesn't want. He wouldn't want us, even though it is technically a realistic one. I wouldn't mind to see Trevor Chalobah at West Ham, and I think that's a realistic target. Yeah, and ideally a striker. Abraham's too injury prone for me. If Herflick doesn't want anything on Saturday, Bowen will go back to being an amateur striker. If Herflick doesn't do anything on Saturday, what, you expect him to do stuff against Man City? We'll see how he does. We'll see how he does. Give him a chance. I'll give him more than 2 starts. So that if signs his replacement for Pac-Man, that's what I believe as well. You think Somerville looks neat and tidy when he came on? The Championship League is tough. He can take being roughed up. He's too quick and light to get hurt. Yeah, he did look neat and tidy. He looks okay when he came on against Aston Villa, and I think he looked okay yesterday. Did struggle to get into the game, but he looked a lot better when Paquetá came on in the second half, and he brought Somerville into the game a lot more. He's got a lot of pace on him, but again, it's the eagerness to impress, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time. You know, not every player is going to come in and hit the ground running like I feel like Kilman and Darren Wan-Bissaka have done. Right, I think they've both come in and they're doing really well and they've started to impress. But not every player is going to do that straight away. It might take them 3, 4, 5 games to get into the flow of things. And I feel like the further up you play, the longer it takes. So that's why the defenders come in. They've got a job to do. They're doing their job. They can't afford to mess up, because if they mess up, it costs goals. So the pressure's on them a lot more, and so far I feel like Kilman and Aaron Wan-Bissaka have handled that pressure immensely well. But as I say, the further you move up the field, the more leeway is kind of given. So Somerville and Fuller will just have a little bit more time to settle in. So let's just give them a little bit of time. Don't understand why would that JDP go out on loan after a year of paying 30 million for him. Not a huge fan, but he has good goals. Yeah, he does. So I mean, in the Premier League, he's got 7 goals and he got 7 assists last season. That's 14 goal contributions in the Premier League. And yeah, a lot of them were from set pieces as well, mostly corners. So he definitely causes some problems there. But then he did get quite a few goals from open play as well, and did really well. Did kind of he didn't really impress in the second half of the season, but no, he came in and hit the ground running, and started really well. And I think I said it earlier on. When you look at the stats of JWP and Souček, I just do not understand why Souček is starting over him, because like attacking wise and passing wise and possession wise, JWP pretty much wipes the floor at Souček. There's 2 areas that Souček wins on, and that is one aerial duels, very, very good in the air, and 2 is defensive work. But you take those out, James Ward-Prowse passes the ball way more. He was averaging twice as many passes as Souček last season. Higher pass completion rate. I think his pass completion rate was around 82% last season. Souček's was around 75%. Touches the ball a lot more. like generally has about double the amount of touches that Souček does in the game. And last season, Souček scored 7, got 2 assists. Ward-Prowse scored 7, got 7 assists. So he just adds a lot more. So yeah, I'm a little miffed. Right at the moment, we're not starting James Ward-Prowse, even though there are better players that I feel like should be starting. If you're going to start, if you had a choice between both of them, I feel like JWP offers a lot more. Even though Souček does have this unique ability to pop up at the right time. But then that's why I would keep him and have him as a super sub. Super sub. It's exactly why you keep JWP. Very useful to have around. Don't want to overlook the cover at left back with Chris out, who could have easily been replaced this window. We're pushing it fine with Emerson. Yeah, no, I totally agree there. I always thought that we should have been bringing in another left back. But I feel like we looked at all the other positions and we felt that those are the positions we needed to strengthen the most. No, I'm not convinced by Duran. I'm not convinced that he's going to go on and become a superstar. I think he's a decent player. I still think he's got a little bit of an attitude problem, and I totally believe that he would just be, if he did come to us, he'll just be using this as a stepping stone to get somewhere else. And even if he does kind of commit himself to Villa, I still think he sees himself as bigger than Villa. And that's what I'm not convinced about when it comes to Duran, personally. I think he's a good striker, shows a lot of promise, but an attitude like that can work in your favour, but can also work against you as well. So, I mean, that's always been my concern with Duran, personally. But there's no doubting that he's got a lot of ability. No doubt whatsoever. I can play left back. I don't think it's a good idea, though, JK. Just because he can. If JW leaves, put your money on him scoring from a free kick on his debut. Yeah. Yeah. Don't know why we loaned Face. He wasn't going to get a huge amount of game time. That's why. I mean, if you look at the midfield that we got now and all the players we've got in there, and some of the players that we'll be bringing in, I don't think he was going to see a lot of game time. So him moving over to Bristol City, I think it's a good move for him. He'll get a lot more game time. And hopefully he'll get a whole ton of experience and come back a better player. And it's in the Championship as well. And with a side that hopefully is going to be pushing for those promotion spots. So it gives him valuable experience if he can get some game time. Did he go off injured though? That's the question. I think he picks up a small injury in the game he played this week. I think we all want Lopetegui to be successful, but I just feel like he does not need to be overly cautious. Only do it when necessary, but I hope the style can improve with more training sessions. Yeah, no, I totally agree there. I do. No, I do. I also agree that I feel like he is being overly cautious, but at the same time, I've seen a lot of West Ham fans already get on his back, and if he didn't, I can see. I think it would just be a different section of the fan base if he didn't go overly cautious and went kind of dynamic and it didn't work, who would be on his back for different reasons. So I don't think you can always win. I don't. So I don't agree with the approach he's taking at the moment, but we got to ride with it at the moment and see how it plays out. Did you know Kilman, AWP, Somerville were all looking after the game? I'm going to get off my chair in a minute and limp to the kitchen. I didn't limp on my way here. They've all picked up. I think I saw AWP. I think he did get kicked a couple of times. Somerville obviously got kicked quite a lot. Limping just means they feel a little bit sore. That's all. Why is it the Fog gets more credit from our fan base for joining in the celebration that Antonio did from our fan base for joining in a celebration than Antonio did for breaking the premiere? I wouldn't say that. He's new. He's shiny and new. You know, I think that's what it is with Fuller. He's a shiny new thing that we can appreciate, and he was a new striker that we haven't seen in a while. So we all get overly excited over new players and new signings, but I don't think anyone really has a problem with Antonio. I think we all love Antonio. I love Antonio, just not the same player that he used to be anymore, unfortunately. I don't think we'll win at Man City, so why not go with the selection? No, I don't think we'll win against Man City, but at the same time, we could go gung ho, and then we could lose 9-0, and I don't think we really want to see that. And I'm all for giving players experience playing alongside each other, but giving them experience playing alongside each other and losing heavily is not the best kind of experience for me. So yeah, I get what you're saying, but I don't feel like that is the best move. You didn't think JWP was that bad yesterday, to be honest. He's just liability defensively. No. I mean, JWP was trying to receive the ball a lot more, but because Socek does fuck all, he was pretty much having to do a job of two midfielders. There wasn't a lot of movement going around in the final third. Not enough movement at all. And that's something we need to work on a little bit more. I would have taken a win against Man City over a win against Bournemouth after I heard about the fixed draw in the League Cup a week ago. Yeah, I mean, would you have gone like massively weak against Bournemouth if you knew you were playing Liverpool at Anfield in the next game? That is a question. We can still win at Anfield. We can. Highly unlikely to happen, but we can still win there. You never know what could happen. You never know. Give me Socek over JWP every day of the week and twice on a Sunday. Really? Socek offers F all. Apart from a goal every 6 games. That's what he's averaged. He averages a goal every 6 games. And over half of his goals have been scored after 60 minutes. And he averages about 20 passes a game. Doesn't offer a lot. Where's Winger? Where's my stats? I had all my stats up here the other day. So yeah, last season. 1 second. I'm going to bring that up. No. Just going to bring these stats up. Oh, they're right there. Where they gone? Right. I'm so unorganised sometimes. It's terrible. Right, let's just pull those. It's one of these. It's one of these that has the stats I want. Is it this one? No, it's this one. It's this one. These stats. These are the stats between Socek and James Ward-Prowse last season, right? Socek averaged 22 passes per game. Ward-Prowse 39. Pass completion 75%. James Ward-Prowse 89. Touches average of 43 per game. Ward-Prowse 59. Chances created more. Ball recovery, Socek does a little bit better. Clearances, Socek does a little bit better. But I mean, this is the point I'm just trying to make. And one second, let me move that last comment. and you'll say aerial duels one, and that's where Paquetá goes. And this is what Souček has pretty much offered in the. This was the first two games. I haven't included the Bournemouth game yesterday, but he's averaging 12 passes per game. Souček compared to Paquetá and Rodriguez, who are offering a lot more. Pass completion rate is so much lower. Touches. Look at the amount of touches to Souček. This is the problem I've got with Souček, right? He gets in the right position all the time, and he can get some really important goals. But apart from that, I never feel like he offers too much elsewhere, apart from defensively and in the air. That's my argument when it comes to Souček personally. Sorry, I just had to get that up. Please. Danny's got better hair than me now, bastard. He could afford to have it done. Antonio can't stop playing. Terrible. Another one you'll be proven right. Ricky, that's just mean. It is, isn't it? Liverpool no longer have Klopp, and with European games, might field the weakened side in early rounds of domestic cups. If we play our strongest team, who knows? Yeah, I think I don't know if the schedule's been done for their Champions League games, but I do wonder because they've got to play Real Madrid, and they've got to play Leverkusen, and if that game is coming up the week after, because I'm not sure of their schedule, Liverpool's. So if they've got a couple of difficult games, then they could play in our favour. But we said this last season as well, because I think Liverpool had Man United one side of our game and Arsenal the other side of that game. And we thought, oh yeah, they'll play a weakened side. And they did. But so did we. And we played a shocking team through the game, through it. At least when the window shuts, we know what we have to work with, at least till January. That's 100% true. Kevin Boyne, pass completion stat is the most... No, I totally agree what you say there, right? I totally agree. And that's why the successful passes and the touches are also on this list, right? I totally agree with the pass completion because, yeah, a lot of them could be sideward passes. But when you're having a lot less and you are not completing passes, and I can put up the stat. I did have the stats up the other day for his progressive passes, and the majority of his passes are sideways. But that's why the other ones are there to show how many touches of the ball he has, and doesn't do a huge amount. That's my argument. I don't usually pay a lot of attention to stats, but when it comes to Souček, I was questioning what do I see from him on the pitch, because that's how I usually judge players, by what I see from them on a football field. And so in Souček's case, I actually went to the stats to try and get some reassurance. I decided, well, I'm going to look at his stats because he must do something else to warrant being that team. Right? There must be something else he does that warrants him being in that team, because I don't see enough from him. And then I looked at the stats and I was like, I don't really see much else. That's not something I want to see, JP. Also creates more chances. Our fan base are deluded, aren't they? They think physicality doesn't matter. I know. No, that's why I put the positive stats in there as well, with his aerial duels. He adds physicality, and he does well defensively in the own box. But this was the question that I was asking this season. He played a really vital role last season because we were defending a huge amount. My argument when it comes to Souček now is him playing in a side that is playing a more possession style of football. He suits the system that was being played under David Moyes, but I just don't feel like he suits the Lopetegui passing style, because you can see that he doesn't have the best kind of completion rate passing wise. You see that he doesn't get involved in the play as much, and that's my question when it comes to him. You know, but I still think that he can add a huge amount to West Ham United as a sub, because the amount of goals that he scores, a lot of them come after 60 minutes. So bringing him on as a super sub, you will still get that same kind of goal contribution from him, just without him doing nothing for 60 minutes. You've got other players who can go on and maybe do a little bit more. But he's touching it more. That's my argument. I love Souček. I love Souček. I think he's done some great stuff for us. I just don't feel like he suits in our system anymore. I just don't. Is the Cornet to Southampton link fake or true? Well, the last thing I saw about that was Fabrizio Romano, and he's usually kind of trustworthy. Usually, but expensive here. Okay, cool. Sorry. Someone's just a spare ticket for the game or something. Pass, lose the ball, get a play through. I don't blame the particularly started Souček go, wow, this is not there. I would totally agree with that if Souček was playing more defensively, but he's not. I would totally agree with that. He would, but he's not. He's not being played defensively. He's being played further up the field. He is. This is the other stat. Like, I'll show you. Look at his. I keep on forgetting to remove the comments so you can actually see what's going on. Right. Look at his defensive work. Clearances, less. Interceptions, less there. Ball recoveries. I mean, look at the ball recoveries compared to Paquetá and Rodriguez. He's not doing his defensive work as much, but he is getting forward more. He's playing more in that 10 role. And I feel like we've got better players who can play in that 10 role as well. Kudus, for example. Personally. Cornet may be the worst one. I had such high hopes about Cornet. Such high hopes. I really did. But, yeah, I think injury problems have come up. He doesn't as much. He played more in the CM role yesterday against Bournemouth. And to be honest with you, I haven't looked at his stats yesterday against Bournemouth. But I still didn't see a huge amount from him. I saw more from James Ward-Prowse yesterday than I did Souček. But, yeah. The last season, he was dropping back a lot more. This season, he hasn't been so much. So, anyway, it is closing on 11 o'clock now. So, I'm going to call it a night. Tonight. So, thank you very much for joining me, guys. Ant will probably be live for transfer deadline day over on the West Ham Network main page. If you have liked the stream, please do not forget to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button as well. I'd really appreciate it. We're trying to push up the subscribers over here, where there will be more lives over here and opposition chats, which usually goes on a Thursday night. But I had a Man City fan and it kind of didn't work out. It didn't work out for tonight. But more videos from myself, and puts up some videos as well, and there'll be some other content coming out as well. So make sure you're hitting the subscribe button over here and the like button as well. Really appreciate it. And We'll be live for transfer deadline day tomorrow night, and I may make an appearance at some point over there as well, along with a few other people. So yeah, it could be an interesting night. So yeah, thank you very much for joining tonight, guys. Really appreciate it. Have a good night, and hopefully we will see some more signings come in before the transfer deadline day ends tomorrow. Have a good night, all. See you later. Come on, you Irons.